it more than once, and you might catch fucking hands. Oh, sorry. I know I should mute my mic when I'm drinking. That's terrible. So yeah, and it's hilarious. This is the second live episode I did today, and I still haven't talked about the incident at the supermarket this morning where I almost got into a brawl. But I'll cover that at some point. Anyway, we are the Literate Nerds. I am Pat Kennedy. We're gonna have some full length episodes in the coming weeks. I'm playing around with Spreaker and trying to figure out the Spreaker patch to Skype. I don't know if any of you guys out there know how to fucking deal with it. Give me a holler. But I'm also making a trip out to Los Angeles. Early March, I'll be out there. Definitely from the 3rd to the 14th, maybe a little longer. And I'm going to be working with Casey Lansdale on some very cool projects we got coming up. Casey is currently doing publicity for the legendary Ellen Datlow, who, if you don't know who Ellen Datlow is, you walk into the science fiction, fantasy, or horror section of any bookstore and look at the anthology sections, and you're gonna see 3 names. You're gonna see Gardner Doizo, you're gonna see Martin Greenberg, and you're gonna see Ellen Datlow. Gardner and Martin both passed not terribly long ago. Datlow is Ellen. God bless her. She's in great shape, and she will, she's certainly very, very much younger than Martin and Gardner. But she's, she's one of the most prolific editors in modern, strange fiction. And she's got an anthology from Tachyon Press, which I should have the name of, and of course I don't. I'm fucking this is why I need to do this kind of shit, because I'm a fucking amateur. But anyway, Casey and I are working together. Hopefully we're gonna do some panels. We're gonna do some panels where Ellen is gonna interview Jared and myself about Big Black Standard Attica. As always, please check out Big Black Standard Attica. It's available wherever your books are sold. You can find us on social media at Stand at Attica on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Don't have a TikTok for Standard Attica, but I'm working on getting that done. Oh, and that was actually what the William F. Nolan reference was to. Holy shit! I'm like on TikTok trying to figure it out, and I'm like, these fucking kids are gonna pull a Logan's Run, and they're gonna be faithful to the book, and they're gonna start sending us to the sleep shop at 21. It's like, and I was joking around. It's like, I don't fucking blame them. I really don't blame them. But it's just, I know it's the internet, and I know, and I'm one of those people that flies off the handle and gets angry, obviously. If you've listened to any single, 5 minutes of my show, you know that I have that, anger and impulse issue. But, like, the puritanical left, I'm not saying the puritanical left is comparable in any way to the dangers provided by the far right. It's not comparable. The dangers presented, I should say, by the far right. It's not comparable, but it's still a danger, and there's still, like, being puritanical is being puritanical, no matter what. And being sanctimonious is being sanctimonious, no matter what. One of the things Howard Chaykin was pilloried for is the depiction of a lynching on the cover of a comic. And yeah, it's brutal, and I understand that, people are, triggered by that kind of thing, but people came after Howard as if he had actually, said that lynching was a good thing. No, just because you represent an act does not mean that you, want that act to happen. It doesn't mean that, you're a proponent of that kind of thing. You know, and that's another thing is so many people like fucking Harlan Ellison, you know, and you want to talk, people fucking stand up for Harlan Ellison all the time, and Harlan was a fucking shitheel. And there's an alternate. I have friends who were really good friends with Harlan, and Harlan treated very well, who still have stories about Harlan being an asshole and love him, and God knows I'm an asshole, and my friends still love me. All right, but Harlan, like, Harlan was a short guy. You know, I know the term Napoleon complex, blah, blah, blah. But Harlan was a little guy who liked to fucking bully people. There's no doubt about that. You know, and Harlan came after Howard for the Shadow miniseries that Howard did with DC in the 80s, as if it was, so horrible. It was a travesty that he would take this character and do something where, the Shadow's kind of a sexist dick. He's a bit of a bigot, but, it's like he's a fucking, multi-millionaire fucking Pulp Fiction era hero, so Harlan fucking goes after Howard and calls Howard anti-Semitic, etc. And it's like Howard's, not only Jewish, but Howard grew up in the slums of Jersey, and dealt with rabid anti-Semitism his entire life. One of his, his anti-fascism is a recurring theme throughout all of his works. And while Larry Hama says he's, an Eisenhower Republican, Howard has always said that his family, they were all, FDR Democrats. And FDR's problematic. He fucking interned fucking Larry Hama's parents. But it's like, I don't know. Basically, call people who are bullies and shit-heels out on their shit. And people that have done stuff that's problematic but are still decent human beings, defend them. And it's like Patton Oswalt said, look into their heart. Look at what their heart is saying. If they don't have the right terminology and the right words, look at what their heart is saying. All right, that's I'm fucking rambling for going on. All right, love everybody. Hope you're doing well. Once again, I have a Patreon for the Literate Nerds, so it's, patreon.com/literate nerds if you want to donate $1. All the podcast posts are free, but, if you want to pledge $1 a month, that's great. Give me a following and help me build a following. And also, I have my Venmo, which is Bellmojo, BELLMOJO. At Bellmojo, and as is my PayPal and Cash App and all that kind of crap. BELLMOJO. Just look for that. And also, I have another Patreon, which is actually my culinary blog. That is patreon.com/Bellmojo. But rather than being titled The Literate Nerds, that blog is Patrick Kennedy Curmudgeon at Large, which is really what this should have been an episode of. But I use that for my my food blog. So please check that out too. And once again, all the posts of that are free. There might be one or two that are still locked. I just got to go through it. But I don't think any of the recipes are locked. So please check it out. I know I can bullshit ad nauseum for almost 25 minutes straight about comic books and science fiction and fantasy and horror, but I really am quite a talented and skilled chef. And if you like American, fusion comfort food, that's what I specialize in. I specialize in a little red sauce Italian, a little Cajun, a little Mexicano, a little Japanese, a little Chinese. A little good old Penn Dutch and Yankee style cooking. I know a lot of people give shit for white people don't season anything, but you go up to New England, man, you get yourself some pretty damn good clam chowder. You get a fucking lobster roll up in Maine. Like, how much do you need to season a lobster roll? You throw a little bit of dill, a little bit of mayo on there, some salt and pepper, Maybe a little dash of fresh thyme. forget about it, man. And that's the other thing is like, white people, all these people, posting about how, why did they leave? Why is there a leaf in my Chipotle? Why is there a bay leaf in there? That's the thing is, you northeastern U.S. Yankee cooking, bay leaves, you use bay leaf anytime you make a roast. Anytime you're making, I'm making Yankee bean soup or Manhattan clam chowder or New England clam chowder. I'm using bay leaf, bay leaf, rosemary, and thyme. Those are really like, that's big, Northeast flavorings. And I admit there's a lot of, white folks who aren't big on the heat. But man, you want to talk about rich foods, man. Woof. You go, Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and sit down to a bowl of chicken pot pie, and it's because chicken pot pie down there, it's like a chicken dumpling and like a chicken a la king. Like it's not like a chicken a la king in a pastry dough. It's like a chicken a la king gravy with minced chicken stuffed in almost like a Chinese dumpling or like a wonton. And it's fucking outrageous, man. That shit, farm country, man. You gotta put some meat on your bones, get something to stick to your ribs. You out there with the plow, geez, you want to talk about problematic people? We could talk about the fucking Amish and the Mennonites. Ask any of my friends who live down there. And by the way, my friends who do live down there, the wonderful Brian Keene, horror novelist, and his girlfriend, Mary Sangiovanni, the queen of cosmic horror. I should say that Brian is Mary's boyfriend, not the other way around. They both, Brian's, actually, no, I'm sorry, Brian does have a regular podcast, Defenders Dialogue, which he does with the wonderful Christopher Golden, where they recap Defenders comic books, and they branched out after that, and they're doing all sorts of cool, like 70s Bronze Age Marvel stuff. Mary Sangiovanni has a podcast called Cosmic Shenanigans, where she talks about, of course, cosmic horror. And they're both brilliant novelists, and it's great because I've said to Brian, and Brian says all the time, like, Brian, like Mary, you're right, Mary's a better writer than you are. And he says she is. And Brian's great, man. Brian writes such wonderful, visceral pulp fucking horror. It's his stuff is of a cosmic bent, well, mostly of a cosmic bent. But he writes really very good, visceral, gritty horror. And Mary writes really good monster books. She makes these wonderful modern monstrosities that feel as if they've come out of legend and are just of her mind. Really incredible stuff. And also my good friend Mike Lombardo is down there. Mike is a filmmaker. You can find him at Real Splatter, REEL Splatter, all one word, on Twitter. And Mike made a wonderful little movie that Brian actually executive produced called I'm Dreaming of a White Doomsday. Which is available, I believe, on Prime. Yeah, it's streaming free on Prime. And it's a great little 70-minute character study about a couple and their son in a bomb shelter after an undescribed apocalypse has happened. And the mother is attempting to keep some type of normalcy for her son, so they're marking off the days on the calendar till Christmas. It's, man, the two best reviews at the screening we did of it up here in New York are one person who saw it, a guy by the name of Steve, who was an ex-New York City cop. So give you an idea of, his mentality. But he said, everything that I expected to happen in that movie didn't happen. So that was a great fucking review. And my friend Rico Perez, who's a sometime co-host here on The Literate Nerds, Rico said to Mike Lombardo during the Q&A, he says, Mike, when will I be able to feel joy again?